a special message from this month's presenting sponsor. Learn about Baltimore's rich industrial legacy through working galleries that explore the history of the Bethlehem Steel Mill, an antique print shop, a garment loft, and more at the Baltimore Museum of Industry, the BMI. Hours and information at thebmi.org. Also, use the code TRUTH50, that is TRUTH50, my special code, and get 50% off of admission at the front desk or use it when purchasing the tickets online. So please visit thebmi.org and make that trip today. Welcome to The Truth in This Art. I am your host, the incomparable Rob Lee. I give myself a new superlative. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing just the driving force of the everything, really, I'll say, of a BIPOC-owned high-end streetwear brand focused on sustainability and hand craftsmanship. We're talking REUS Laboratories. Please welcome Rodney Salvador. Welcome to the podcast.
Yo, thank you for having me. What up, Baltimore? What up, the world?
We love it. We love it. We're out here. So, where do I start? Like, as I'm seeing you wearing one of your pieces right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm envious. I'm envious. I mean, it's got the proper sizing. I'm just in here, lowly Carhartt.
Yo, shout out to my dudes, Playground Printing out here.
I would have to check that out. I need some shirts done. So, tell me about. So I gave that really high view, literally the copy and paste intro, but you break it down. How would you describe really what you do, what your brand is about, mission, all of that good stuff?
So my brand name is REUS Laboratories. REUS is the Dutch word for giant. And me, I'm 6'4", I'm towering up here. I see you, bruh, from across the table. Yo, imagine just like right now, wherever you at, just two big ass dudes in a room with tiny tables, like real small ones. And our chairs, yo, ninja status. We're on our tippy toes.
But small bottles of water, by the way.
So REUS, giant, I think it's more of a persona. It's a mind state. I also just adapted it to me because my name is Rodney. Mm-hmm. So the R had to be prevalent and all my brothers are R's. Mm-hmm. So I needed to make sure that I tied in the moniker and just going from there. REUS just seemed to be the all driving power of where we are as people, as creatives. So that was the first part. And then laboratories, because I don't want to limit myself to just creating one thing. Mm-hmm. Because I think that each one of my pieces that I create is a dynamic piece. It has function. It also has fashion, but most importantly, it focuses on the art. And all that wraps around into sustainability, because the phonemic way that you see REUS is REUS. So it's like reuse, mm-hmm. and it's reusable, sustainable. I grab vintage, I flip it through my process, and then I bring it back with just all of it.
Yeah. And so really, I guess early on, what piqued your interest when it comes to like clothing overall, right? Like if that's one piece of it, because it's much more than that. I don't want to pigeonhole you, but what piqued your interest in that area? And I've heard and I've interviewed more folks when they talk about sustainability when it comes to like fashion and things of that nature. What piqued your interest initially in clothing, and then what piqued your interest in this kind of response to not going after fast fashion? Because that's ultimately what I'm hearing a lot of. Avoid fast fashion, buy quality stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about my brand, that the reason why I decided to go into clothing was actually to make it a bit more connective to people. Mm-hmm. And I speak about that because originally I got my start in a collective in the Lower East Side, and I was actually creating art pieces with just reclaimed textiles. Mm-hmm. So I was just a visual artist, and I would just create these like large scales, neo-expressionist like art pieces, and I would do like cut out graphics, and people would look at it and they would be like, damn, that's dope. but it's like, but they just couldn't grasp it because, yo, this would look great on clothes. And that's just the response that everybody continued to give me. And I understood that to make it salient to people and how I can continuously give a message and actually bring something artistic to the table is if I still bring that same mindset from what I create, you know, murals or fragmented pieces, Basquiat's. I take that approach to making clothing. So every time you see it, it might be perceived as like flashy or whatnot, but it has a story within it. Everything has meaning.
So, yeah, I think that's big. Like being able to see, all right, you know, this is something I was doing. How do I still take what that approach is? Being focused in quality, being focused in doing something that's an artistic expression that has some intentionality to it. How do I maybe transfer the medium in which that, or transfer that being the vehicle? Like, how do I move from, so I'll apply it to kind of like how I do my stuff. I love uncovering things, learning new things, right? And I like to share said new things.
Tight.
The podcast is my way of doing that.
Lit.
It's not sitting there like, hey, did you know this thing? You know, I can't talk to everyone, right? Yeah. But if they don't know you, Rodney, it's like, oh, let me have a conversation with you and help you, you know, put your story out there of what you go about. Now more people, probably 3 more, I don't know about what you're doing. I have 3
Thank
listeners.
you 3. It's about y'all.
So, so in terms of traits, what's one, I think in your career as you've progressed and kind of growing out your brand, growing out what you're doing and your footprint and you being a known person. In terms of like traits, what's one thing that you had to change about like how you like collaborate, how you go about business, whatever as it pertains to, you know, your brand? What's one thing that you had to change, and what's one thing that you've like developed by like being, because when we're entrepreneurs, when we're doing these different things, we do a lot. So what is one thing that you have to learn about yourself that you're like, you know what, I need to change, I need to do this differently? And what was something that you developed and you're like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this?
I think that over all things, I think the one thing that stops us is fear. And I think inside of us, whenever we approach a situation or whatever it may be, our art form or anything, it's really to acknowledge it and to just kind of like give it a name. And it's like the process of like naming to tame it. So if you get that emotional feeling or this, you know, it's either meditation or just prepping yourself. And I basically just like get myself over that hump to just do the process. But I'll see pieces, and what'll end up happening is that the trait that I used to find myself into was I would go about it with just mixing colored tones and trying to put together all these different pieces. You end up finding yourself in a mess instead of just like grabbing the piece and letting it speak to you. So I started to like really form my process. And then like in regards to collaboration, the drop for this piece right here is from the Black Everest project that I did with a homie Yuri Meow. Really dope human. Check him out. Doing amazing things over there, Under Armour. And actually I learned a lot from that situation because usually my process is singular. So the things that I change are usually on how I approach myself to get the voice out. And then dealing with him, it was just like I realized how much communication you have to give and like transparency. So a lot of it was just like back and forth communication. He had questions, I had answers. I didn't hold him to like a gentleness or anything like that. It was just a straightforward, this is what I need. Okay, cool. And we just literally passed the ball back and forth. And it was really fluid. And I think that being able to be that accessible was one thing that I had to learn, because I'm not really like that with my own process. I'm like,
this is for me.
This is in the inner art.
Yeah, that's the thing that as this has grown out, and you see the output, you see it. As this has grown out, like it's really a one-man thing. And granted, everybody's process is different and how they put out their work, whatever it is, right? And being able to get past the hump of, like, I was doing like 10 years of podcasts in my own little hub, 2 to 3 people I know. This is who I rock with. I know what I'm getting from them. And then bringing in people for interviews. Like, this person can be a wild card. This person can be all over the place. This person can be terrible. And or driven. It's like, this is not going to be entertaining, or this is not going to be interesting. And it's kind of like, all right, what from my side I can do. And also, out of necessity, I guess I'm a shy extrovert. Like, I guess that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And I find that I can have a conversation. I can kind of get myself over in the first few minutes in a conversation with someone, which is a skill I didn't know I had. It's just I can be relatable quickly and it'd be authentic too, because I don't want to, put out something fake. And it's like, here's this representative. I had to get rid of that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's interesting how your process and again you have to take stock in self whenever you're approaching these year markers and seeing what you want to do differently. And I'm kind of heading into the first quarter of like out here in Baltimore. One of the dopest things that I found when I moved here was the flea market scene, and that's actually like how a lot of my pieces started getting out there to people. I usually would do Saturdays at the Be More Flea over there at Broadway Market, and I would just bring out new work.
I don't know how I didn't see you over there. I'm in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, that's like literally the best way that I can get this out to the people, and it goes quickly. Yeah. Baltimore's been definitely doing your boy good. But the thing is about like showing yourself and getting yourself plugged in and then taking stock of that. And then the other thing is like now transitioning to like more clean package drops, doing like collaborations with other people on graphic work and really creating an experience with each drop. That takes more work. That takes more process. That takes going back to the moment of drawing and like literally getting yourself your artwork, like the things that are going to speak to you, that actually draw and create the pieces that speak for it. And that's like where I'm transitioning to. A lot of the stuff was sourced, and I have fabric and things that I want to create that are all my one-offs. So I'm kind of taking the older fabric and the cloths and making my own gear this time. Yeah. Instead of manufacturing or getting like sweaters and everything done, I'm going for broke, and I'm going to break out my own pants, my own line, all of this other goodness.
If we can get like a size 40-34, right?
I got you.
That would be amazing.
I got you. I told you, man, my brand is called Giant for a reason. I cater to everybody. I like to go from the small, tiny giant to it's like Attack on Titan, how you get those little baby ones, the baby giants. I got stuff for them, and then I got stuff for like the Beast Titan.
Yeah. I call one of my friends a Titan too, which is really funny. So before I leave this, so you came from NY, right? You came from New York.
I recently just moved here from Brooklyn. Yeah. It was wild. Wild. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All of that goodness.
Park sloping it up.
Oh, yeah. Nah, I lived in Crown Heights.
Oh.
It was beautiful, yo, to just like enjoy the summertime out there and just like cross over to Bed-Stuy. I think honestly, I don't think if you could go back, there was pieces of it that I loved, but I was ready. Yeah. I was there for 10 years.
I was told I'm an LES dude without being an LES dude.
Word. I think you definitely have some flavors with it, because you got the dress shoes, but then the Carhartt and then the mix and then the glasses. Like
he's a wild Doc Martens too. That's the funny thing.
See, my man got the attaché somewhere. It's somewhere. And then just like coming through like that's definitely LES swag.
I was have been wearing like ridiculous bandanas as ascots the last few weeks.
Boom. Man's about to teleport into Williamsburg real quick.
Stop.
As soon as he put the ascot into it, boom.
I just walk out of a Shake Shack. Yo. That's like a version of the what is it, the TARDIS?
Oh my gosh. At this point, I don't even know. New York was changing so much that like when I originally got there, it was grittier, and I think that it also had like a real honest vibe with it. And I think that like the changes of how crazy it's been after the pandemic that really got it.
So what was that shift? So what was the stop before for New York? Give me that trajectory.
Oh, I'm originally from Lynn, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a town north of Boston. They're shopping it now as like an ocean town. But exactly. Gentrification.
It's the rainbow pop.
Exactly. So like Lynn is north of Boston, and it's cold.
Yeah, I've been to Boston. I was in Marlborough, Massachusetts.
Wow.
For some focus group. It was freezing.
Yeah,
down there. I was
it's icy.
Let's do something different.
I'm done with that. I think that Boston I was there at a beautiful time. I actually met Yuri in Boston, and we became homies just like living life. I lived a good few years over there, like in the blog era. Yeah. The blog era was ill in Boston because you had cats like Bodega was really starting to like get on, and they were coming with heat. Yeah. They were coming with heat, and then Concepts was still in Harvard Square. So like cats came out, and it created community, and then like dunk exchanges. It was amazing. Yeah, and then the homies had a shop called Technical, and that was on Newberry. So we started doing art shows and stuff over there, and it was really dope.
And sometimes like I have my approach, because I always like kind of romanticize like that, like being around it. Like there's a certain era of, you can see people who are in the fringe who are doing this DIY thing. Like I film my own music video, figuring this out, hanging out with the skate kids, the artists, the designers, before they actually pop. You could still see like there's bags under their eyes, motherfuckers are struggling, right? And you see it, and you're like, wow, this is really cool. And then I realized I'm older than y'all, and I actually have a 401k. and it's a thing. It's like I romanticize it and want to be around it because there's the spirit of a wild man in there, but also it's like I got a responsibility. I got a house. I got things, you know.
Yeah, y'all built differently out here in Baltimore. Y'all think about different stuff. But it was an interesting time of life. I think it was just like a young man trying to figure it out. Yeah. Because Boston's a weird place, yo. Because you got pockets of dope humans, and then just some random stuff that's going on there, and a lot of it. But whenever I'd plug into different places or like over there at Bodega, I would meet homies. Yeah.
So you like to hear it. So this is a question I had. You talked about the flea market a little bit, or have you? So tell me about like thrifting, and like, do you have a philosophy in finding like, essentially good stuff? Like you're going there at one point, you know, you were maybe in part sourcing like certain pieces of material that you were going to use, and like, I'm going to do this better, but how do you know what has quote unquote good bones?
So it's funny, the way I used to do it in New York, I would have my first couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, I would just be hitting the streets, and I'd have to thrift. I'd have to hit each place. So like I'd spend my whole day in Brooklyn, and I'd go from like the lower parts, I go all the way down to like Red Hook, creep all the way up and ride up to Williamsburg. And then if I can, I try to hit past Greenpoint and even go up to try to hit the edge of Queens, all in a day. And then the next day I'd hit Manhattan, just boom, the whole island. I'll just try to go around and look for stuff. And then I think interesting. I would look for actually like, instead of being like looking for Carhartt or crazy things like that, I actually would look for like those real weird one-offs that like, it's weird because like now bell bottoms and stuff are coming into style. Yeah. I was just grabbing pieces like that, just like weird polyester all over print joints, and being like, you know what, this is fucking dope. If I add some canvas to it, some texture to it, and then some chain stitch, boom, I create a really dope piece. So like sourcing out there was like a process. It was a couple day process, or you'd have your spots obviously going through. But out here, I'm actually like plugged into a really dope crew, like of peoples, and like the love out here from the vintage community is really sick. So like people are out here making a living by just like going out and hitting the bins and picking and recycling that good stuff. So I just connected myself close to them, especially since I'm meeting them at the Be More joint. So I just paid that dude. And it creates this like cyclical just blessing around. So like I grab something from you, then they're looking out for stuff for me too. So like I plug in with good peoples like Skybox, like Picking Vintage, like a lot of, my man Flavor, Vintage Flavor, all these cats out here on the gram. They just like, they do their shit. They do their research. So like you're getting top quality stuff. Little preem, but gotta pay to play.
One of the things, like, I remember I did this interview, it's the homie, I think Jerome Shanky, or what have you. He does the hats or what have you. And he likes to take like old polo, just turn, like, he'll take some polo shorts, turn into a hat. It's
nice.
fire. And I remember I reached out to him. I was like, yo, I got some enormous polo that I cannot fit. How can I get that to you? And, like, that's literally all I used to wear. And I'm smaller than I was then, but it was like stuff like, this is how bad it was.
Yeah.
I dropped like $130.
Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a lot.
And, but this is years ago. I've put most of that back on, but I've dropped.
Man likes the snags.
But I dropped that weight, and but my body composition is different. So I had like rugbies that hadn't even popped tags on yet, and I was like, ooh, what am I gonna do with these?
Yeah, rugby used to be an amazing one. Polo, that was like kind of like the start of it for me. Like I was making my own jackets back then. Yeah. Like I actually in high school I used to make my own T-shirts.
Nice.
And I would do like the iron-on letters, and I would go, "I am Martin's dream." Yeah. Or like Dipset was huge, so like that whole Mesquite joint.
Yeah. Were you wearing a lot of pink then?
No, not back then. But what I did do was just paint splatter a hell of a lot of shirts. My joints were glow in the dark. I was out here.
Out there.
Yeah. A lot of dance crews too at the time. Yo, the 2000s was a wild time. A lot of dancing. I
mean, like, because I'm in this stage where this is going to sound terrible. It's mostly because I'm Aquarius.
Okay.
Wave daddy. That's the spot that I'm in. And I just want to wear Coach jackets all the time. Just like, yo, can I put this bouncer jacket? I want to look like I'm a bouncer. But it's like, no, sir, you got the wrong person.
Yeah. If I had to go back to a specific style where I would want to live at, it'd have to be like vintage Gucci.
Nice.
Like Dap. I would like to look like Dap when I'm older. Just chilling in my house coat that has rhinestones.
Yeah, you have the same glasses on right now.
Exactly. Basically, yeah. Word to Dap, yo. He's definitely an icon in his style, like pillar.
There's a question that's about that is coming up later. And one of the things I wanted to get, saw, what is this? Those, the Baroque Versace, like, robes. I was looking at those. It was the one that was like, I think red and like gold. And my girl was like, can you stop? I was like, look, I'm going to open the door like this on. She's like, can you really?
Right. You got to have that berry on in the background. Like,
I mean, right now I have a burgundy joint. I have a burgundy robe that I just wear. And nice. I remember I was like, yo, I mean, I've been getting you like Dior, lipstick and all types of like, wow, everything has been like high name. But I'm getting it on the discounts. Treat your queen, dog.
Treat your queen. Absolutely. That's the real message right there.
So tell me about this notion of a calling, right? So as I was talking about earlier, like, I think my calling ultimately is attached to uncovering stuff, sharing stories, and having dialogue in that way. What would you say your calling is, and how did you come to that? Or have you found like that calling? How did you come to that? And maybe some stops that were along the way if you have found that calling.
It's interesting because in some spaces, like, I love what I'm doing as in creating this art. I think that the calling is actually telling people that, like, they can do it too. Like, that's the giant mindset of this, is to really encourage somebody else to pick it up, create something, show what is inside of you, do it differently, and then like let that shine. Because that's what's really hitting right now is this, like, this new wave of fashion. Like, R.I.P. Virgil, he really opened it up for people to just like imagine, create, and make it tangible. And I think that like that process is one of the most beautiful things. I tell people that it's like, it's not so much that there's like something special. It's just about the fact that you said the thing that you want to do, and then you just started doing that thing.
You gotta, it's interesting. I've been on this thing that people ask me, like, what are you running off of? Because they see how much the output and all that. I was like, look, I'm just running off of spite and ambition right now. And it's just like, why shouldn't I be able to do this? And, Kanye's maligned and all of that in many regards. But one of the things that always stuck out with me is kind of the same thing that Donald Glover had stick out. And it's like, who says you can't do these things? Exactly. I have money and talent, or at least talent. And it's like, you should be able to do it. If you're funding it, you should be able to do it. Exactly. And if it's coming from you, you should be able to do it. So if there's somebody who, and I'm going to be a heel when I say this, there's someone who's not talented telling you can't do something. Exactly. That's like a slap with a glove. It's like on guard. You know what I mean?
Yo, exactly. It's definitely that old school. Like, what are you gonna do? What you gonna do if my man hit you with 5 fingers in the glove? Hit you with the shit mode.
Hit you with the glove that you sewed earlier.
Oh my gosh, I did the disrespect.
It has chain stitching on it. It says slap.
Bro, I would
the onomatopoeia.
Anybody ever, I'll give you this one adage. Anybody run up and get done up, first off. That's definitely gotta be said. But yeah, but that's a real
thing.
Man says slap.
That's a real thing though, where when you're in a spot and you're like, I'm interested in this, this, and this, and you can operate off of it, and you're not letting anybody else really get in your head and telling you, well, we shouldn't do this, or maybe it's like, look, do it all. Yeah. Do it all. Act responsibly. Like, don't put yourself in like crippling debt. Yeah. But do it all if you can do it while you can do it. Exactly. And it's been people in our age bracket, our age group. I'm like, look, I got it right now. Yeah. I'm just gonna ride with it. Like, exactly. I've had conversations with chefs, and they'll say like, look, I don't know how long I'm gonna be this ambitious and this with the follow through. So just do it. If you want to say, look, I want to make spaceships. You're making spaceships.
Go for it, yo. Exactly. I think that the way to just like move yourself into it is just have that defining moment where you have that definitive thought. You're like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And then a lot of people stop after the first hiccup. Something will stop them at that first hiccup, and they're like, oh well, I guess that's what was supposed to happen. And you're like, no, hell no. You're like, yo, move yourself past that to the next thing. Like you said earlier about spite. Like, use these things that you're like, I didn't go to a good school. I didn't go to this like wonderful art school that just like prepared me to do this. I learned this. I actually took the time to study this because I said I want to do this. So I usually just tell my friends that same thing, that it's just like, it's not something special. Well, not even that it's not something special. It is your duty. That is the reason why you exist on this earth right now, is to experience it and to be a god upon your life. So like, as you're like moving, you just choose the thing that you want to do. And if it's clothing, again, show the art and actually like say something. Yeah. Don't make corny shit. Just make you.
I'm almost going to be sociology Rob. You know what I mean? Like, just telling people like, you really think that you were supposed to do this? Yeah. You're do it. Yeah. Oh, they expect you not to. Whoever they are, you do it. Just make it happen. Yeah. And it's one thing that when we look at criticism, right? This is kind of the opposite of it. When someone's like, I didn't like that. You know what I always say? Where's yours?
There's that.
Because you can go make it.
Make yours.
Make yours.
And I think that again, that's the calling that I've been putting out there, is that like, I've seen a lot more people come up into the game, which now is like, it's kind of nice to have competition, but in another sense, it's just like, I'm consistently focused on my tree. That's it. There's only one fruit that can come from this, and that's me. So I don't really think or put too much mind on anybody else's. I look, just to be like, oh, that's dope, good stuff, and I cheer, because hate will only like infect you and it'll stop you. So always just like big up for all the peoples that are doing their thing out there, because you know how it is. Like, getting on a sewing machine is probably one of the things that makes people so timid. It's because it's a motorized machine and you think like, oh my God, I'm going to fuck this up. Yes, you are. That is the process. That's how you get ill, is to fuck it up and to be mad and to just breathe it out. And then eventually it doesn't hurt as much.
You've learned something from it. And like you look at it like, you know, I'm sitting here, done 13 years of this. How many bad podcasts do you think I put out there? I mean, how many like times that I didn't hit the record button?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? And it's like, man,
like,
we got gold. Ooh.
Shite.
And then
we gotta do this right again.
Now I have creative ways to lie about it. It's like, yeah, that was great. It just like, it's like, damn, bro, the computer blew up. Just say some the sound wave sonically corruption.
Right. Hey, look at that.
So I got a couple real questions left for you.
Yeah.
So real quick, collaboration. I want to touch on that again. What are the telltale signs of determining one's like character, one's like scruples, if you will, in terms of, you know, can I collaborate with this person? Like, what are those early telltale signs for you?
Again, one of them is really the fruit. And I think that it's weird because like as I stroke my beard, I think of like Pai Mei or anybody who's like been out there, you know, and has challenged a million fighters. They're just very calm, just kind of waiting for it. Most people who want to collab, they come off really hype, like a lot of hype. I want to do this, which is tight. But for me, because I had to learn this, I had to teach myself how to do this. I only am going to really rock with you if you actually are putting in that sweat equity. And it's going to speak for itself. So like Yuri, his catalog is crazy, but also just like work ethic and how he flowed, like his process, fluid, well-oiled machine. I'm going to work with this person. Yeah. Because as I know that I generate the imagery, it will get funneled through. Like, that's dope. So being able to be solid in what you actually bring to the table is reason to collaborate. So like, if you are hoping to be there at a space where it's like, okay, like, how do we actually barter? What are you offering? Take a self inventory and know that like, I want to approach this person, but just because they're accessible, like I'm looking at you right now, Rob, like I'm not going to come digging in your pockets or ask you for like something because I don't really know you. I just know that like we have really dope conversation. And you know what? I want to continue to rock because I trust what you're doing because this is dope. Yeah. So it really is about what you come to bring and just like be okay with just being where you are. Yeah. And just like know that, you know what? I've had a couple people that just tell me like, yo, I really like what you're doing. I'm actually cutting and sewing myself. And then they just leave. They don't buy anything, but they leave. Some people do, and that's awesome. But for the most part, like, I appreciate when I know that somebody else is going to be putting this to good use. Because again, like the big mission is to get things out of landfill, give use to good things. Like, if anybody has a double RL or Polo out there that wants me to cut it up into a bucket, come see your boy.
We'll talk.
Yeah,
we'll talk.
There it is. I gotta hit the plug. If you got fabric, come see me. I do take commissions. I think it just has to be dope. Things have to be dope.
My thing is, I always, whenever I work with someone and there's a commission opportunity, like, I'm fine with, and I say this all the time, I'm fine with wearing Carhartt all the time. Yeah. And this is because I'm working on myself. That's why I'm in Carhartt. And
that's what's up. That's the easiest way to, I'm working hard.
So when someone's like, yo, so what do you want with this? I'm like, whatever it is, just make it dope. I trust in you. I'm not reaching out to this person. I reach out to you. So obviously there's a degree to it. And someone like, well, it's like, don't overthink it. Just do the thing that you do. And that's just kind of how it is. It's like, I'm buying it, not like, oftentimes I will prefer to wear something bummy because I'm always doing something. I'm either coming from the gym or going to the gym. And I'm like, yo, I can't sweat out this polo shirt real quick. This is going to smell like fucking subs. So, you know, really, if I buy something from someone that's kind of like dope or what have you, and that's a custom commission piece, that's being hung up somewhere. That like, I have a dude that's doing a piece. I got this like, this Orioles jersey. It doesn't have any numbers or anything on there. I was like, yo, I want this and this on there. Here, do your magic.
Nice.
And tell me how much I owe you.
Yeah.
And that's literally how I operated with it.
See, now that right there is the easiest way for someone to collaborate with me. Just bring me a piece and tell me that you want to do some shit. And then boom, now we're working together. I eat.
It's simple.
You get some goodness. Now we have collaboration.
It's simple.
Exactly.
People
it's
don't get
profound.
So this is the last one I got for you of real questions, because I'm not going to let you escape the rapid fire questions. Those are the questions that take people out. People leave with headaches and migraines.
Oh, wow.
You know, loose stools. It's all the things that they say when they give you certain meds. It's like, it's going to cost this, this, and this.
Okay. The long list of diarrhea, all this. You're going to sweat from the mind. You're going to sweat from your palms. You're going to sweat from your nose. And drip.
You drip out your strikes.
Exactly.
Creatively, what, and I think I got this, so I'm going to ask the polar opposite of creatively, what repels you? Because I think I get what attracts you.
What repels me?
Yeah, like what you're like, you know what, that's fine, not for me. Because you don't want to knock away whatever creative acumen that's there. You acknowledge that there's work done, there's you know, attention to detail, there's a craftsmanship, but you're like, not for me.
Yeah. I do work with a lot of like tie-dye and bleach. It just has to be a specific type of pattern. If that's the only thing you're doing to it, I can't rock with it, because it has to have like a little mix in it, because it just like, it's the first process. It's just the first step. Take this to something to a new height, and then present. I think that's people want unique pieces. Yeah.
I've not purchased really any tie. This is going to sound crappy. Sorry for you tie-dye guys. However, the only time I purchased tie-dye was when I was buying a shirt from a different state as a souvenir.
Hey, exactly. Usually they have fire prints, and they're usually screened with like Bob, and he's got like crazy sausages, and you're like, what? Why has my man got the Glizzington, and then the mermaids and the dolphins all got crazy double D's?
Freaking Glizz marquee.
Yeah.
I'm done. Don't get me started on these puns. So that's all I got for the real questions, what have you. So I want to hit you with, I got a group. I've added two. I've got a group of rapid fire questions. Okay. And these questions are always random. So, you know, the key is to try to answer them as quickly as possible. All right. Describe your style and however you define style in 3 words.
In 3 words. Yeah. Clean, vintage, 90s. Okay.
This is my new favorite one, I think. Favorite struggle meal.
Oh, the struggle meal.
Because we've all been in that spot. Yeah. I had a week where I was eating up with popcorn and asparagus.
Yo, Trader Joe's. Save your boy's life. Exactly. I had ramen. I hit the ramen, and if you eating ramen at the age of 30, just package out the box into the water, you are failing it. Oh my gosh. I make fancy ramen.
Do you?
So you just go to the store, get yourself some good greens, and a couple of snap peas, a little bit of bok choy, and then just like I would use the Trader Joe's little wontons. Boom, grill them up and throw them in the ramen. That meal cost me like a total of like $8, and I could eat for multiple days.
Galak Choi should be a rapper.
Yeah.
No, that actually
the return
works.
to Jin. Yo, it comes as Galak Choi.
That's it's Rich Chigga or Rich Brian, as we didn't remember that. I remember we did this bit. I used to do a different podcast, and my brother and I, we were watching a lot of the show Chopped, and I remember we were looking at my dad and my uncle. They're veterans or what have you, Vietnam veterans, and I was like, yeah, I feel like they just make struggle meals, what have you, but present them like, I got the sardines with this ketchup reduction. It's like, yo, stop it.
Yeah, you're like, yo. I mean, surprisingly, one of the things exactly, sardines are dope. Some scrambled eggs with sardines, boom. Yeah, Dominican classic.
Oh yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
Yo, the struggle meal I think is the thing, because you remember grandma, you remember your family, your roots. That's why the struggle meal is always slaps.
Some fried bologna.
Oof.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
Oof. With the egg over easy.
Sir. See, I can't do yolked out, but we here.
Bruh.
What's a brand?
What is a brand?
Yeah, how do you define a brand?
I think it's an ethos, like a well thought out ethos that you created your logo, your design. It's something that's clean, it's fresh, but it's also just like a complete aesthetic. You see, like, whenever you think of Rick Owens, you're automatically thinking all black, a little bit of white, a lot of leather. You think of Tom Brown, boom, you're seeing houndstooth and like some crazy Alice in Wonderland shit. Yeah. And then polo, denim, and like mountaineers. Yeah. A lot of it starts to create like a feel for you. And I definitely like REUS is more of like a futuristic hood in the 90s. We got like flashy Carhartts with the different dye drip. But then you also have like prints and other things like chain stitch and just a whole different look. Cause I was really inspired a lot by like anime and like Dragon Ball, like way back, like their style was really dope. And like, but they would have like double RR on their joint. It was like, oh, that's where double RL. So I like that stuff, man.
So I got 3 left. Favorite movie?
Oof, that's loaded.
That's a political question, yeah.
Yeah, I think that puts a lot. My favorite movie is The Fall. It has Lee Pace. It's a very dreamy movie.
Okay, yeah.
It was by Tarzan Singh, and then The Holy Mountain by Jodorowsky. That movie is ill.
Okay.
I will tell you one of my favorite joints. I'm gonna send a shameless plug right now. Yo, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. You gotta peep it.
Okay,
it's a good movie.
It's on the list.
Yeah. Michelle Wong goes crazy.
The trailer brought me in, so yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Favorite anime, and I just thought that one because you mentioned anime. So
favorite anime,
like current anime.
Favorite current,
yeah,
definitely Attack on Titan.
That's about right.
I think a lot of the stuff with REUS, the brand, I think my girl was so sick of me biting my hand. She was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm about to go type beast mode right now.
This is the last one I got because you referenced it more than once, and you mentioned the Dominican thing. So,
yup, pa mi gente, we out here.
I'm fake Dominican, so we could talk about that.
That's later. Fine, son. You got the caramello, yo. We gonna take you. All right, the racial draft, we're going to pick you next, all right? Roberto Lee. Roberto Lee. That's going to be your new name, son.
If you were a fruit, what fruit would you be?
If I was a fruit, what fruit would I be? I ain't going to lie. I'd probably be a dragon fruit.
Yo, really?
I'd be a dragon fruit. Hell yeah.
I'm here for it.
Exactly, yeah. Them shits is beautiful.
I'm a clementine. Like it's a lot smaller than like one would think like, oh, you're like a durian, you're a jackfruit,
yeah, you're like, what the hell?
Clementine's delicious.
Clementine, yeah, you know what it is? They pack a good punch.
Yes, they do.
All that vitamin C, I rock with that. I got some seeds. I ain't for everybody, but I'm beautiful as fuck. That's how I love it.
And you eat a bunch of me, and it's like, yo, 2 of me is 1 serving.
Boom. You heard it here first.
So with that, I want to thank you for coming onto the podcast, and I want to invite you and encourage you to share anything you think we missed, and tell the fine folks where to check you out and REUS. out online.
Yo, thank you very much for having me, Rob.
Absolutely.
Thank you for this opportunity to just like chat and vibe out with you. Everybody out there, look out for me. I'm actually going to be making a new drop coming real soon of all original cut and sew pieces at REUS_labs on the gram and REUSLaboratories.com. And also catch me on a couple of Saturdays over there at the Be More Flea over there at Broadway Market. I want to shout out to a lot of the homies out here in Baltimore on the vintage scene. Yo, a lot of love.
So there you have it, folks. I want to again thank Rodney Salvador for coming onto the podcast. And I'm Rob Lee, saying that there's art, fashion, clothing, just dope humans. And around Baltimore, you just got to look for them.